Hello, and welcome to the next edition in the Seattle travel series. My name is Swetha, and I work in the tech industry. I live in the Bay Area in California with my two daughters and my husband. This is part 2 of the Seattle travel series. In part 1, we had just flown from the Silicon Valley into Seattle and we reached our hotel and checked in for the night. So we had a late breakfast on Friday morning, and here is a parking lot of the hotel that we stayed in. It's actually really beautiful, and we have some almond blossom trees in the parking lot, and it was one of those rare sunny days in Seattle because it rains a lot in Seattle. So the entire Pacific Northwest region, it's really green, and one of the reasons it's so green is because of just how frequently it rains there. And Seattle apparently is also called as the Emerald City because of how green it is. So I did not know this when I was living there, but I learned since then. So I actually lived in Seattle for a couple of years when I did my grad school in UW Seattle. So that's University of Washington, Seattle. It goes by UW. And so this is the beautiful drive that we made all the way from Linwood to Mount Vernon. And this is actually like the farming area in Washington. So you may not know this, but actually Washington is known for its farm produce, especially fruits. And there are some really beautiful like European feel farmlands and barns and things like that. And we actually stopped at some random daffodil gardens on the way. And so this was a really picturesque spot. So of course we had to click some photos as a family. And then we got back into the car and headed to our original destination, which is the Tulip Festival. So it's the Skagitvalley Tulip Festival, and this is the parking lot for the Rosengard location. And you can see that it's kind of full. We made sure to apply plenty of sunscreen. Skin protection is a must. And it was one of those sunny days, like I mentioned. So it was pretty warm actually. I did not expect that of Seattle in April. So I was overjoyed to have a clear day like that. And so we were just walking along the path and we went to Rosengard, and we did not have to wait in the line for long because we had tickets that we had purchased online. And I noticed that there was a bit of a queue for those who had not bought their tickets already. So it took a little bit of time for them to process everybody. So definitely you can avoid waiting in line by getting your tickets online in advance. So I would definitely recommend that if you can. And one more tip is that try getting there early if that's possible at all. And if you're able to go there on a weekday, that would be even better. Although this was a Friday, and as you can see, it was Friday like about maybe 12:30 or so. And I would not say that it was too crowded. It was slightly crowded. And weekends are definitely really busy here. It's a really popular tourist spot. And one more important thing to note here is that this festival is only from April 1st to April 30th, meaning that this is not a year-round event, nor is it for the entire spring. It's just for those 30 days. And you'll have to sort of track when the tulips would be in full bloom. So definitely there would be sections in the garden where there would be flowers in full bloom, and then also sections where the tulips are probably still in the process of achieving that peak bloom. So here it is, the beautiful tulip gardens, and make sure to stay on the trails as opposed to getting in between the flower beds. So when we visited this garden for the first time like 10 or 12 years ago, they were not really enforcing this rule that much. But I noticed that this year when we went to this garden, there were definitely people who were probably employed by the garden and who were making sure that people didn't get in like too much into the flower bed. So definitely keep that rule in mind so that everybody can enjoy the garden. And so here we are at the food area. So there were some limited vegetarian options available here. So we chose to have a burger and then some chips also for the kids. And we also got some American style chai or tea. Swetha, how do you like the burger? After relishing that really tasty meal, we headed back to the garden to take it in a little bit more. They also had daffodils here this year, both white and yellow, and those were new. I definitely did not see daffodils when I came here like all those years ago. And I also didn't see like white tulips and maybe a couple other colors. So I guess they do keep changing things up. I know that it was pretty hard for them during the pandemic because they could not have this show or this festival happen in 2020. We also saw some llamas there, and that was new as well. I definitely do not remember seeing llamas like I think 12 years ago when I last came here. So there were about 4 of them and they were really cute. And my daughter actually started describing them to me in our native language. So that was like a good language practice session for her. So I would definitely encourage you all to have such impromptu sessions with your kids. So I'll try to see if I can upload it as a short, maybe at a later time. So we are back to sort of close to the food area. So they had like this big meadow kind of an area there. So in case you don't get a picnic table to sit down and have your meal, you could also just have a picnic blanket and enjoy your picnic lunch. So you can bring your own food here, so that's not an issue at all. And of course you can purchase food from here. I did notice that they no longer serve funnel cakes. I'm not sure for how long this has been the case, so I definitely did miss the funnel cakes here. So let's now dive in a little bit into the history of growing tulips here in the Skagit Valley or Skagit County. So no brainer here, the state of Washington is the largest exporter of tulips. The region also grows a lot of other fruits and is actually the biggest exporter and grower of apples in the US. So I actually wanted to share some pictures from our trips to Rosengard from like I think 12 years ago. So here are the pictures. Enjoy. So going back to the history of tulips, so an immigrant from England actually first planted some tulip bulbs in the Orcas Island, and he wrote to some of the farmers in the Netherlands asking for their help to figure out how to grow them and optimize them. And of course they ignored his initial letters, and then later when they saw how good his product was, they finally relented and gave him some tips and tricks on how to make the harvest sustain. But Rosengard is actually owned by the family of William Rosen, who came as an immigrant to the Skagit Valley from the Netherlands in 1946. So I think it's the 3rd or 4th generation of his family that now owns this garden. And this is the largest tulip grower here in the area. So they mainly sell their tulips, and you can actually order them from the store that they have here in the garden property. You can also pick up some tulips from the Pike's Place Market, from some other growers. I don't think that Rosengard sells their tulips elsewhere. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely go check out their garden store in the property and you won't be disappointed. So if you like this type of content, if you want to know more about how we manage or balance life and work, and if you want to see some working mom routines or some travel content, let me know, and also subscribe to my channel. If you had any specific questions for me about my life here as a student or about my work, and how we balance things, let me know, and I would be happy to answer any questions or make any future videos on this topic. So I will see you in my next video. Until then, bye and take care.